Okay, ECS period 4. Or whatever period you happen to be in, should another class period get a hold of my here video. Today, you guys are going to jump back into our programming stuff while I figure out what we're doing with Unit 2. I am going to have you do a program today called the Alphabet Game. The Alphabet Game is basically a program that is intended to help little kids learn how to read. You click on A and it says A is for apple, B is for banana, whatever. I had a student named Angela, and she made this game my first year teaching, so this is a few years ago. But she made this game, and she liked it so much, her little brother liked it so much, that she turned it into an Android game. And in the Android game, it basically was a thing on your phone. You load it up, and then you hand your phone off to the kid, and the kid sits there and plays your Android game and basically taught him how to read. Well, not necessarily how to read, but how to help him learn what the letters are. Okay, so we are going to kind of remake Angela's alphabet game. It's kind of cool. It will help you to understand a few things. There are a couple of new concepts that we're going to introduce today. The first one is user events. So in computer programming and in computers in general, they don't just do things generally. They have to have something or somebody tell them, hey, go do this thing right now. And in a video game, for example, if you are playing Call of Duty, you pull the trigger. When you pull the trigger, the game knows that it's supposed to be shooting the gun. When you push the jump key, the computer knows that the jump key is supposed to make the player jump, that the player wants the character to jump. So those are actually a specific kind of event programming called user-driven programming. That's what we're going to focus on today. So today, classically to this point, when you guys have made your programs, you have clicked the green flag to start. That is not going to be a thing this time. Because what we're going to do is, instead of the program, you just clicking start and then sitting back and letting the program do its thing, we are going to design the program so that it reacts to the user and then does what the user wants it to do. Okay, some of you guys have kind of screwed around with this a little bit with the when space key pressed command. So we're gonna do that. The other thing that I'm going to introduce to you today is something that you will probably use most of your programs for the rest of the time we're in the programming unit. So make sure that you figure this out and make sure that you get it right. Because if you don't, then you're going to have a really, really difficult time as we kind of move on. And that is how to create custom sprites. I know you guys have been in the sprite library so far, and the sprite library has some pretty good examples of what what you can use, but it's certainly is not all encompassing. If you decide that you wanted to make a video about Baby Groot, you are not going to find a Baby Groot sprite in the sprite library. It's just not there. So you would have to make your own. Okay, so today's example program is going to kind of lead into your regular program. So remember, if you have space on your computer, go ahead, if you have multiple monitors, or if you can put the video over on the side and put Scratch on the other side. A really good thing might be for you to work along with me in Scratch so that you can kind of get a feel for what we're going to do and how to do it. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and start a new project. I'm going to go create. Okay, so what we have is we have our Scratch window here. And then we're going to go to create. Going to let it create us a new project. We have our new project now. Our cat, we are not going to use our cat today, so let's go ahead and get rid of it. Okay, so I need to add a new sprite. Hopefully that's the best place for my face to go. on your thing so you can see me. But okay, so what we need to do is I need to create a new sprite here. We're going to go to the library here in the magnifying glass. Okay, we're going to go in and I'm going to choose a letter. Okay, I'm going to pick an A. So now we have a sprite A. I want to just make sure that I come in. I don't want it to be normal looking. I want it to be some other color. So we're going to make our A be red really quick. So I'm just going to select red. I'm going to paint bucket. I'm going to paint bucket the inside of the A. So that way now our A is red. And I can go back to the code. Okay, so I have A. The goal of our program is to get user input in two forms. First is we are going to want to allow the player to click on the sprite and have it do something. So the user's actually going to click the A and it's going to do something. So my A is, we're going to come here. I need to add another costume for my sprite, right? So what happens is A is now A. You guys know about costumes when you did your baseball program, right? Because your cat did the woo, 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 and we did it with 2 different costumes. Okay, so our A is going to have a second costume. So if I click on costumes right here, I can add another costume from the library. I'm just going to click on there, and then we are going to do an apple. Okay, so now we have A and an apple. Those are our 2 costumes for our sprite. Now, our code. This is where we're talking about. If you notice, we will never do a green flag clicked. That does not mean you cannot. If you wanted to come up, turn this into like an actual game where it tracked like score and stuff, we could do an A, and then every time the kid picks the right letter, he gets points, whatever you wanted to do. But that's down the road with what we're working on, okay? So the first thing we want is we want our A to be clicked. We would like it to change to apple. So I'm going to go under events. I'm going to pull out this one right here, and it says when this sprite clicked, I'm going to make that a little bigger so you guys can see it better. When this sprite clicked. So when this sprite is clicked by who? The user. So this is a user event, right? So this is an event that happens from the user. So when this sprite clicked, okay, what do we want to have happen? Well, I want it to look different. I want it to switch the costume to apple. Okay. I want it to say something. It's going to say A is for apple. Like that. A is for apple for 2 seconds. Okay. And then it's going to switch the costume back to A. All right. So now what we have is we have that this sprite can now be clicked on, or conceptually, if it works, it's going to work. This sprite can now be clicked on. If I click on this sprite, it changes to an apple. Boom. A is for apple. And then changes back. Let's say I am not happy with 2 seconds and I want it to be a little bit longer. So I'm going to change that to 3 so it stays up. A is for apple for 3 seconds and then goes back. Okay. What you could do is you could do sound files for this. If you wanted to actually record yourself saying A is for apple instead of having it right here, that would be fantastic. It would be a really cool thing for you to learn. Under sounds, you can actually come right here and you can go to sounds, and then you can actually record a sound right here. Okay. You could, there's all sorts of stuff from the library. You can do whatever you want. So there's a bunch of stuff that you can do. Okay. But A is for apple. So now we click A is for apple. Yay. A is for apple. Yay. Okay. I told you we were going to actually do 2 types of user inputs. That's the first. The first type is clicking, right? So when they click, that's a user input for them to make something happen within the program. So only stuff that comes from the user is happening inside of the program. If it doesn't come from the user, it doesn't happen, right? So if nobody were to ever click on anything, it would just stay just like it is right now. Okay, so the other half that I want to do is I wanted to make it so that they can click the key on the keyboard and have it say A is for Apple. So like, let's say I clicked on the A key and have it say A is for Apple. That would be fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my events. Some of you guys have used this before when space key pressed, except for here's the difference. I'm going to, from the drop down, instead of space key pressed, I'm going to select A. When the A key is pressed, I want it to do these same things. Here's kind of a quality of life for you guys. If you will right click on this and do duplicate, it'll copy that bit of code and you can just attach it back on. It's nice. Okay, so now if I hit A on the keyboard, which I'm about to do, it will say A is for Apple. Okay, so there we go. If we click on that, they can do it as many times as they want. Fantastic. Okay, not really a problem. Okay, so now I have my A done. Yay, A. Okay, let's say I want to do something else. So I'm going to do, let's find B. Need some letters here. Let's grab a B. I'm going to pull our B out, put it right here. Okay, B. Don't like that color. Let's change it to a different one. I already kind of know what we're going to do. So I'm going to grab an orange-ish. Then we're going to color it down just a little bit, make it more of a brown. Okay, there's that. And I'm going to paint bucket. We're going to paint oh. Why is it doing the whole thing? Oh, because it's a vector. I'm going to convert it to bitmap. There we go. Convert it back to vector. Good job. Okay, so now I have B here, and we are going to add a costume. Okay, so we're going to do A is for Apple, B is for Baby Groot, right? We like Baby Groot. I like Baby Groot, so we're going to go with Baby Groot. But I don't have a picture of Baby Groot in the sprite library. So that's a problem. So I'm going to come right here. I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to search for something very specific. I'm going to say Baby Groot. Okay. And then I'm going to search for no background. Okay, why do I search for no background? Well, that's because my life becomes much easier if I can find a picture with no background. So if I have a Baby Groot, I like that one. With his spacesuit on. That's cute. Okay. So here's something, a little trick. So I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to say open image in new tab. So it's going to open up the image in a new tab right here. And now I'm going to right click and I'm going to go save image as. Okay. I'm going to just let it go in my pictures and we're just going to go Baby Groot. Name it Baby Groot. Okay. So now I have my Baby Groot picture. So now I can go back to Scratch and we're going to add a costume. Okay, but instead of this time clicking on the magnifying glass or the paintbrush, we're actually going to click on this one and say upload costume. So we're going to upload a costume and we need to go to pictures here. We have our Baby Groot. Open. And now we have our Baby Groot. Except for it's too big, right? That's way too big for what we're trying to do. Okay, not liking that. So what we're going to do inside of here, okay, so inside of this part of the little menu over here in the paint thing, instead of doing, so I have this, I can just come here and do size, right? But then it changes the size for both costumes, right? So if I make this 50%, that's good. But now when I switch back to the B, look what happens. That's bad. I could manipulate that. Some of you guys probably inevitably are thinking, well, couldn't I just put a size modifier on that and have it, when it switches to this costume, change to that size? Sure, totally you could do that. It would not be very hard. But there's a better way to do it. So if I come here into the baby group, go here, I am going to put a box around my baby group. Like that. And now I can grab this corner. And if you hold down shift, nope, not shift, control, there we go. If you hold down control, it'll actually keep it proportioned right. And I'm going to make my baby Groot about that big. Okay. All right. So I have another problem. Some of you guys inevitably have noticed this. But if you look, so my picture that I copied actually has this weird background behind it. I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to take the eraser. Okay. It's a 40 point. Oops. It's a 40 point eraser. Right. So that's not big enough. We're going to make it, for right now, we're going to make it 150. Okay. So, 100 is as big as it'll go now. Okay. So now I'm just going to take this. I'm going to erase all this stuff around the outside here. Okay, so now all that stuff's gone. But I still have this part in the middle that I don't necessarily like. So I'm going to zoom in on my guy. I'm going to take this and I'm going to erase around my baby Groot. This is weird because the background that came with it is is the same checks that the program uses to indicate background. So it makes it a little harder, but that's okay. I'm just going to come in and kind of crop it. It doesn't have to be completely perfect, but I'm going to show you another thing you guys can do in just a minute. Okay, I'm going to make the brush, let's make it like 30. Come in here and I'm going to get this in between his feet. Okay, so we have that. Deleting that. And then now I have my baby Groot. Now I'm looking at it. There's a little spot by his head that I want to get. Got that little spot by this side on his head. Get that. Little spot on his arm I probably want to clean up just a little bit. And remember, if you mess anything up, you can always Control Z. Oh, there's a little bit down by his foot. I'm going to get that too. There we go. That looks not bad. That looks pretty dang good. Okay, so now I have my B right there. Going to go back to my code. We need 2 events. Our first event is going to be when this sprite clicked. Then under looks, we are going to switch costume to Baby Groot. And then we are going to say for 2 seconds, B is for Baby Groot. So I should probably capitalize baby, since that's our focus word. Then we're going to switch costume back to block B. Now if I click on my thing, B is for Baby Groot. Yay. Worked awesomely. Okay, need to do the same thing because I got to get my other user input. I have to do my letter here. And we're going to click on B. So now when B key pressed, I'm going to duplicate this little section of code, put it right there. So now I should be able to hit B and have it do B is for Baby Groot. It does. Right? Okay. Not that hard. Hopefully you guys are seeing that this isn't too difficult. Generally speaking, when we do an example program, your example program will, you will not want to use it for your regular program. you can use this to just continue on and do your regular program. However, I'm going to give you a bit of a caveat. All right, here's your assignment. Okay. Your assignment is to take our alphabet game and make your own. I want you to take your own thing. You have to do minimum 10 letters. Do you have to do every letter in the alphabet? No, but if you do it, I'll give you extra credit. So you have to do at least 10 letters, okay? And your project has to be themed. What does it mean for something to be themed? As I wait for a response from people who can't talk back to me. What it means is your project to be themed, all of your stuff has to be similar. So like, let's say you were going to do an alphabet game about food. Everything would be A is for apple, B is for banana, C is for carrot, whatever. If you were going to do Star Wars, you could do A is for Anakin, B is for Boba Fett, C is for Chewbacca, right? If you were going to do sports, right? You could do A is for auto racing, B is for baseball. If you were going to do Harry Potter or JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or Adventure Time or anything, I don't care, as long as it all has the same theme, right? So everything has to have the same theme. I want you to make your own secondary sprites, meaning that if I was going to do A is for apple, I would not want to use the default apple. I would want to go out and get an apple and do it, okay? So if we look at the rubric, this is the things that you are going to be required to do. You get 5 points for have at least 10 different letters. You get 5 points for have a theme for your game, and so everything is tied to the same theme. Food, sports, animals. 5 points for if all of your sprites change when they're clicked, and 5 points for change when they press the letter. 5 points are using the say block, so A is for apple, whatever. And then if you decide to do the full alphabet, I will give you an additional 5 points. Okay, so that's kind of how it's broken down. All right. In the past, we have had students from the class grade your programs. That is no longer the case. You can now have a parent or a family member or somebody else grade your program. Just make sure that you get your name here, you get their name here. Like, I want to know who graded it for you. Get it and do a good job, right? I've given you guys a little time off because I wanted you to work on your third term stuff, but now we're going to start hitting it pretty hard. So get this done. Okay. If you have any issues with it, please reach out to me. Let me know. Use the discussion in Canvas, because if you have a question, it is highly likely that someone else in the class has a question, has the exact same question. If you need help with something, that's cool. So what I have is I have this due not until the Wednesday after spring break. So you have from now until the time we get back from spring break, basically, to get it done. The Monday after we get back from spring break, I will have your next program up and ready to go for you. So take the next couple of class periods, right? My vision is that this is probably going to take you an hour and a half to do, which is about 2 class periods for what they've given us. Okay, so take this and I want you to knock your program out of the park. A couple of recommendations. One, do something that you're interested in. If you don't care about, I don't know, Game of Thrones, don't do a Game of Thrones one. If you don't care about food, don't do a food one. Do something that you think is funny and think is cool. Something that you can be proud of. I was going to show you guys one more thing before I called it off. I'm going to show you one more really easy thing. We're going to come here. I'm going to find another image. Let's find an image with a white background. Does that work? Nope. That works. Okay, so there's this image of Baby Groot with a white background. Remember, I'm going to go copy, open image in new tab. It's going to open the image in the new tab. I'm going to save it, save image as. I'm going to come here, and we're going to say B Groot 2. So I have that. Back in Scratch, I'm going to add a second costume, a second Baby Groot costume. We're going to upload costume. We want B Groot 2. Okay, what you're going to see is this thing has a white background. Okay, if your image has no background at all, that's best, because that's the very, very easiest thing to do. If your image has a single color background, that is second best, because then you get to do this trick. If your image has a non-single color background, like the one we did with the checkers, or if you're trying to pull it out of a regular picture, still doable like I showed you before with the eraser, but not as easy. This is easy, easy, easy. So if I'm going to click on the paint bucket, I'm going to click fill, and the color I'm selecting is this red line through the middle. What that means is no color. Okay, so now all I have to do is I'm going to come in here and I click on the white background and watch what happens. Bonk. Totally gone with one click, except for between his legs. We'll get rid of that. Okay, now all of that white background is gone with a single click. You can tell it's gone because it's not hovering over there. I'm going to add a background really quick so you guys can have a better idea of what that looks like. We'll put him just on this thing. Okay. So that's how I did. See how that was there? That's how the computer did with the paint bucket. Much better job, right? It looks a lot better than mine did. Okay, so if you can find one with a single color white background, you maybe even search for picture of Baby Groot white background if you want to do it like that. Okay, all right. Any questions? Make sure you guys let me know. I have really enjoyed hearing from you guys on Canvas and through email. Don't stop doing that, because I miss hearing from you guys. Basically, I heard another teacher say that what they have done to us is taken the best part of our job and gotten rid of it, which is you guys, right? Like, they've taken you guys away from the teachers. And that stinks, because I like computers. I like teaching about them. I like playing games. I like doing all this stuff. I like programming. But what I like is being around you guys. That's the reason I'm a teacher, is because you guys are there. And now that's been taken away. So that's kind of a bummer that I don't get to see you guys. If you're bored and you happen to miss me and want to at least see me or talk to me, whatever, we run a Twitch stream every day from noon to 2. You guys can hop on. Please hop on. And we played Minecraft one day. We played Ark one day. We played Fortnite today. So hop on and squad up. We'll play with you. I think tomorrow we're going to do a story game. Maybe play like Arkham Knight or something. But we do something every day from noon to 2. You can get questions on your homework. Or you can just hang out, right? Just hang out and be like, tell us a story of something and I'll tell you a story of something, right? So hop in and say hi. Okay? All right. Anything I missed, make sure you let me know. I might have to do an addendum video, whatever. But I will talk to you guys later.